Right on time.
Okay. Well, we have a quorum, so first thing is to welcome our invited guests. Does anybody, you guys have anything to say?
We're good.
Nobody, okay.
David says he's almost here. Yeah. David's here. David used to work for us, and now he went to work for the Bureau of Reclamation. He's one of their meter readers and
Hydrotech.
Hydrotech. The meter reader is Hydrotech. You got that wrong. All right, well, we had another guest come in, but we'll wait till he gets here. Let's do the minutes. We'll get here. And we have 3 sets. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes as you have in your packet?
Well, hold on just a second, because Sharon and I had some questions. Yeah, one on
On the minutes?
one where I wanted to change
This, on the January 20th. Okay. So,
Yeah, I think that's right.
No, I was on the 14th, Mr. Chairman.
oh, it's on
Okay.
You pointed out some suggestions on the tax assessor adjustment language. Just wondering if that was okay, or if you still wanted us to change something.
On page 3 of the
page 3, yeah.
14. Look at the now therefore clause. You had some language you thought might be good, but we couldn't catch just what you had in mind. It says now therefore be it resolved that the adjustments and corrections to the 2014 tax roll review during the month of December are approved as shown in the exhibit attached to these minutes. And see, you made the motion and everybody voted on it, but in hindsight, we couldn't figure out what exactly.
I think you wanted us to add reviewed, and that's what I did. I added reviewed. Just wanted to make sure that was okay with you.
If that's fine, as long as it rolls right. Grammatically, as long as it's all right, that's fine with me.
All right.
And the other one I had was on the very first page of the January 20th, the only reason, let's see, on line 1, it says call to order establishment, there being corn directed by telephone, so on and so forth. Then proceed to consider the following, number 2, consideration of the above described emergency. There was no description.
Okay, what we do is follow the agenda with the items, the numbered items, follow the
So
agenda
we were gonna do
verbatim.
the agenda.
So unless we copied
The agenda.
all of that agenda, it wouldn't make sense.
Okay.
But what this basically says is there is an emergency described in the notice that was posted for the meeting.
Maybe we should say that. If you don't mind, I thought that same thing that Art was talking about there. Maybe we should make that more clear.
You see, what I'm saying, Johnny, is we never change the numbered items from what's
I'm not
shown on the
talking
agenda.
about changing the numbered items, you just add to that
Okay,
and say the above described emergency as listed on the agenda or whatever it was.
On the attached agenda or something like that.
Whatever, so that you know, because that, you know, what is that?
When we keep these for public review, Jim, aren't they, we keep the agenda evidently with these minutes, is that correct?
well, you know, there's no magic to minutes. They're recording action is what's
Right.
important about the minutes is the action they record. So
Right.
I don't know that we couldn't just amend what we say and say consideration of the emergency described in the notice of this meeting.
Fine.
Okay, that's good.
Now that tells you
That's
something.
good.
So were those corrections, were there any other corrections or additions?
That's-
I entertain a motion to approve them with the one correction for the
So moved.
January 20th meeting.
Second.
Good, been moved and second, we approve the minutes with one correction. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carried. Okay, we've had several people come in and we've already welcomed the guests, but we'll welcome you guys then. If anybody has anything to say, and you, I think you have a,
Yes,
you want to introduce somebody?
I wanted to introduce Dan Tires. Dan's been reassigned to the El Paso office out of Elephant Butte Dam, right, Dan?
Yes.
And welcome to you. And Dan brought some of his staff that he wanted to introduce himself, but if you'll take the podium and...
Sure.
And if you've already met Mr. Stubbs the day we met out here.
Yes, we have. How do you do, Mr. Stubbs?
I'm good, and you're some kind of family with Ramon? Good.
I don't know if Ramon's gonna own up to that. Yes, yes.
Yeah, I bet he will.
His father and my father were brothers.
Okay.
He's a Jesuit, you say, so he's a Jesuit educated fellow.
That's right, Mr. Ivy.
That's right. We're everywhere, huh?
How's Ben? I went to school with Ben. You were much younger.
I was a freshman, you were a senior.
Is that right?
That's when you don't notice freshmen. Dick and I are in the same class.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
My brother, yeah. Yeah, it was like coming home when I got to meet Chewy and some of his staff last week, or a couple of weeks ago. We came by. And a lot of the memories came back, you know,
Yeah.
growing up in the valley, my father having property and being a farmer down here.
Yeah.
And then Ramon taking over the family traits of farming.
Yeah.
He's done quite well. And lo and behold, when I saw Phil Bowen's name on here, I said, it can't be the same Phil Bowen. We were neighbors many years back.
That's exactly right.
That's right, that's right. So it's really a pleasure to meet all of you. And I'm so pleased to be back in El Paso. I was stationed in Elephant Butte, Truth or Consequences. I was an engineer there at the power plant. When the opportunity came, the position opened up here in El Paso, I raised my hand, I said, I want that position. I talked to a few people, and I think you've met Ken Rice. Mr. Rice was kind enough.
Yeah.
A very good person, very good person. Was kind enough to consider it, and had a couple of interviews, and lo and behold, I'm here.
Good.
And I'm very pleased.
Well,
to
we
be
welcome.
Thank you, thank you. I'd like to take this opportunity to say, introduce some of the people that came with me. And just to give you an idea, because being a new person on the block, I have to rely on a lot of people's experience and knowledge to bring me up to par. So, and these guys are amazing, okay? First of all, we have, well, I'm gonna save you for last, David, okay? First of all, we have on this side, Jesus Grajeda, who's been with the Bureau for 23 years now, right?
25 years.
25 years. Jesus is a civil engineer, graduated from UTEP, and he takes care of all the numbers, gathers the data, goes out to all the different websites and web pages and checks that information and just crunches it and makes sure that it's right and provides that information to people like yourselves. Next in line is Larry Vasquez.
Morning.
Larry Vasquez has been with the Bureau for over 30 years. And he started off as a purchasing agent with the Bureau, moved up to a hydrotech position after a few years. He started off in Carlsbad, came into the El Paso area, and learned and grew up as a hydrotech, and he's extremely knowledgeable about the river, all the way from TRC down to Fort Quitman. And his knowledge and experience has been extremely helpful to me. Next person is, youngest person of the team is Jerry Melendez. Jerry is a graduate student working towards his master's degree in hydrology, and very technical know-how. He's very savvy on the latest techniques, and we're very pleased. He's gonna finish his master's program come May, and I hope he decides to stay with the Bureau.
He hadn't been with you all 30 years, has he?
No, he's about 30 years old himself. Well, he's only been with the Bureau for about a year and a half, or 2 years, going on 2 years, Jerry, is that right?
3 years.
3 years, oh, okay, is that correct? And then finally, and I think you know this gentleman, David Garcia, and I want to thank you for David, because it was through his experience and knowledge that you guys gave him when, as he was working for your district as a hydrotech. And he came in at a time that we needed some experience in hydrology, and David provided that for us. So, thank you. Thank you for David. And David's been with us for, what, 2 years now?
Going on 2 years.
And doing a tremendous job. So I hope you don't mind if we brag about that, but you raised some good people like David. And knowing, and when Chewy introduced me to some of your other staff people, they're excellent people and very experienced people. So I'm very pleased to be here with you, very pleased to meet you all, and I look forward to a long and lasting relationship and continued goodwill with the Bureau of Reclamation.
Dan, and you'll be working very closely with Al Blair, our district engineer, and
Mr. Blair, it's a pleasure to meet you.
and Phil King from
Yes.
EBID. So, and then next to him is Jay Ornelas, our in-house
Jay, how you doing?
assistant engineer.
Excellent. Do you have any questions for me?
We're glad to have you in El Paso. And we look forward to the same. We've had great relations with the Bureau forever. And, well, not always, we've had a few problems, but it always turns out, turns out in good, and we look forward to working with you in the future.
Thank you, Mr. Stubbs.
Dan, I don't think they're gonna hold it against you that you and I were neighbors.
Oh. I should have mentioned that, is that what you're saying?
Hey, Dan, I wrote it down over here on the side, but
Oh.
And say hi to Richard, I know he moved to where?
He's in Corpus Christi.
Corpus,
Yeah, getting closer to his grandchildren.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give my best to Ben.
I will.
That's, we go back a long way.
Yeah, long way.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, thank you very much for the invitation. And we've got work to do, so we're gonna stay a little while, and then we're just gonna quietly exit after we.
I don't blame you, you'll be bored to death.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dan. Anybody else? Bill, you came in a little later, did you have anything to say?
Not today, thank you.
All right, well, let's move on. Where's Robert?
Robert is here.
He's hiding behind, how can anybody hide behind rows? You're on.
You don't have no water.
Yeah, Robert's got other meetings this morning, so we're gonna move him up, Sharon.
When you don't have no water, John, you'd be surprised what you can hide behind. We started with turf flow last week, and as of right now, we already got 12,000 acres ready to go, 200 orders. The water's in very heavy demand. The unfortunate thing right now is what we got. We metered yesterday, we've been metering about 30 CFS of water below the Wasteway 1. It doesn't get as far, and you get that 30 feet from Wasteway 1 to Wasteway 2 on the riverside, and you lose another 10 feet, so está bien pobre, and it's very depressing for me to have the little bit of water we got. We metered the American Canal got 30 CFS up there that we can't get to until the 1st of March. So I think by the 1st of March, if everything goes back into pay like it has in the past, I think we'll be back up into the 70, 80 feet, and I think we'll be okay. And then we'll divert everything back to the Franklin feeder. So we're diverting the water back to the Franklin feeder come next week. We're trying to get trying to get some of our customers out on the riverside. And they said, well, wait until February. I said, I said, guys, it's this week or nothing, and we're gone. And then once we come down to Franklin feeder, we don't lose as much water as we do on the riverside. And it just seems like it just works a lot better. And I think once we get back to 1st of March, I think we'll be back in the vicinity between 5 and 6 irrigation. The orders are there, there's a lot of acres, but the farmers are putting in 100% of their acres in, a lot of them. And like I tell them, guys, you can only plant 30%. Don't go.
You can only water 30%.
Yeah, and so why put the whole farm? But, you know, it's just a game they're playing, but I said, okay, guys, 30%, that's it. And then they said, how do you gonna know how much 30%? I said, well, we can play another game, guys. You got so many acre feet, you got so much time. You can do what you can in those 5 days, whatever you got acre feet for 2 inches, great for you, but you will be cut off. If you don't get your 30%, sorry. So that's the little game that we're playing, but they know, I think from last year's experience, they planted their bird 30% and they all felt they could plant a little bit more, and I think that's what they're trying to do this year.
Well, everybody can make that decision on their own.
Right, and
You know,
so,
what we can do.
and that's what we're doing, and come next week when we divert the water down to Franklin feeder for the month of February, we're only gonna have, who knows, 30 feet. You know, I checked just the mountain this morning, they're throwing out an average of 40 CFS a day. And then you got the Haskell, they're another 15. I think yesterday, a couple of times we're metering when the return flow is at the lowest because it varies between the daytime and, I don't know if y'all know, but it goes from 20 to 40, it varies. So when people flush the commode or take a shower, whatever they're supposed to do. And on, P's not here, but just kind of give you a little slide on here. The Senatad is ready to go. And what P was telling me and talking to Bob, the Clint, that all should be completed by the 1st of March.
The railroad project.
Yes, sir. And then he's only lacking the green. And what Bob was telling me, the green should be ready by the middle of March. And like I told Bob, he said there's one order on the green, but it's cotton. And whether he gets it the 1st of March or the end of March, it doesn't really matter. So the farmer says, whatever you get me, and he's fine with it. So anyway, I think the Clint's of the job, as far as operational wise, it's ready to go when we're ready to go. And like farmers have been calling me yesterday and today, if I put my order in, Robert, when can I get it? I said, right now, I'm telling you honestly, you're looking at April or May. And basically with the way you look at return flow, and I hope it gets better, but basically telling everybody, you're looking at one irrigation between now and June.
But be sure and watch this, Robertson, I've already had some people come to me like you're saying, well, I know I can get all of my ground this time. And I see them, and like you said, I see them listed up. And they're listed up border to border, and I'm scratching my head, but
And see, and exactly what you're saying, and you know, I'm having to go farm by farm every day, and they have 1,000 acres, they know they can only irrigate 300, but they're gonna try to irrigate more. They're gonna tell me the water was very poor, so they need water. So we're getting that stuff metered, so we know what they're getting. I'm averaging their irrigation, they're going at 12 CFS per day. Some are carrying 15, some are carrying, but I'm averaging everything at 12 because it does vary. But they give them a timetable and say some guys might have 15 days because that's the 2 inches. But I tell them, you've got till so-and-so date, 8 o'clock in the morning to cut off. And then when we come closer to that date, I also look at their acres, what their water, because I gotta look at their acres because maybe they didn't get that good hair or something happened. But I give them the benefit of the doubt, see where we're at, and then we decide at the end, does he get another 24 hours or not? But, you know, because they're trying to irrigate as much as possible.
well, and everybody's looking too at their neighbor, and that reminds me, when is, in our neck of the woods, when is Tony through with that little project?
I talked to Martin, that project will go through tomorrow.
Really?
As far as inside the channel, he's dug it out, laid in the pipe, he's compacted it. They're gonna work outside the channel, and then Monday, the shotcrete goes in there, and they're gonna shotcrete from the turnout, from the check, all the way up to the culvert.
Okay.
So, and
So
all
pretty
that,
quick, okay.
all that's been paid. So, by the way I look at there, by next Thursday, the whole project should be completed.
So 9A can start putting water,
I already got water up to 9A up to check 5.
Do you?
Yeah, I just don't have the water,
Yeah.
but I'm soaking the canal.
2 CFS.
And then on check 14, I built it.
I heard him say April or May, you know, so that's okay. I
Well,
figured it, yeah.
On pecan people, like I tell them, you know, you guys,
Get those wells.
as well as they like to irrigate almost every 30 days, are they gonna get an irrigation from the district every 30 days? No.
Okay,
So it's,
gotcha.
and I tell them, you pretty well decide what you want to do. And I tell them, you pretty well need to stay in one canal. Don't be expected to go from the Sanelli to the Tornillo with Whitehead, because it's not gonna happen. But I got water, I can get water in the Tornillo up to check 14.
Okay.
Check 14, I do Tapanco, I got the melon, where if anything water gets past me, it goes into the wasteway, but if it does go down there, 5R will pick it up. But I'm not denying anybody water, the only one is you but it's still on check 16, we're still good there.
Okay.
We try to make it to deliver
It's
to as
ready.
many customers as possible, so they don't say that we're picking in anybody, you know, and still do our construction.
All right, Robert.
And that's it, guys.
Good luck, man.
It is going to be fun. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. All right, let's move item 4 and 5, items 4 and 5 of the closed session.
You gotta go to the meeting.
Number 6. Where you're on.
On the investment report. At this time, this week I will be working on submitting bids for CDs. I wasn't able to the end of the month of January due to the fact that we received the payment from PSB the last week of January as well. Our majority of our tax charges were received at that time. And also due to the delay of the Playa drain. Once we receive those funds, then I'll go ahead and submit another proposal.
That's why your general funds up there at that 3 million or whatever it was.
Yes.
And the last check from PSB was 1.4.
Do we have any more checks? Why do you say the last?
Well, the last year's deliveries. Last year's deliveries.
Any questions from the investment
I
report?
didn't have any.
No, I sure did.
Anybody else have any questions? $500 check report. You're getting lucky, I mean, you guys need to start studying, let Mary off light here.
And next month we'll be working, having a meeting with all the managers and looking at the budget and where we stand. And there might be a proposed budget amendment the following month.
Okay, the only thing I was gonna on the budget on 104, the land assessments are coming in, we're still 300 short of that. Is that many people delinquent on our land assessments?
And Rosa's gonna give you an update on that.
Yeah.
If you'll hold that question, she's
Okay.
got an update.
Okay.
There have been some big accounts that are delayed, and she's been working on those.
Okay. All right.
And by the way, you all had budgeted 90,000 so we could buy a backhoe, and we had an opportunity to go to Houston. There's some brand new backhoes available through Ritchie Brothers auction, and Pete just texted me, he picked one up for 60,000, so we saved ourselves 30,000.
Great.
Wow.
Great.
Thanks, wonderful.
Did you see that Ritchie Brothers auction sign out here at near Horizon? Was that just temporary, or is it?
Yeah, I think they'll have their next, well, they had one auction there already.
Or is that, and I was gonna say, is that a permanent location
Yes.
now, or is it? It is?
Yes, they're not gonna go to Valdo anymore, they're gonna do them there.
I'll be darned.
Mhm.
Okay.
Well, as long as Pete didn't spend 30,000 going to Houston when we were on, better check on that, man.
I believe his rental car was a small Ford Prius or a Fiesta.
Right, I don't know how you fit in it, but
How do you get in it? Any questions of the $500 check report, John? You have the credit card report.
on the credit card report, I just wanted to mention that the amounts there, we've got several trainings that have been set up already, like for Mary, Lisa J, and so we've scheduled those, plus my travel to, and hotel rooms for Santa Fe, for the Law of the Rio Grande, myself and Jim are going. So that's why the charges are up on our credit card for professional development.
Any other questions of Mary? Let the record show we reviewed all those items. All right, Rose, explain this one. I'm never get quite figured out.
Good morning. Okay, first thing on the agenda, we review the tax report and adjustments. We got 6 adjustments for the month of January. And if I may, I'll go ahead and talk about the first 4. It's the same property owner. Property owner Eddie Valencia, which is partnered with Chapel Development. They have subdivided acreage. The first one, that's Mission Valley subdivision, and the second, third, and fourth, that's Valley Victoria subdivision. He has provided documents where the water rights have been reserved, provided the comments for the subdivision. Therefore, those properties were exempt, being ponding areas, ponding/park. But because the water rights were reserved, those.
Now, who was the deed owner?
The water rights can't be reserved.
They're attached to the land.
Well, we have, each one has provided documents where they have reserved the water rights. The lands have been sold.
But that's
That's
impossible.
not legal.
Wait a minute,
Can't happen.
I didn't know that you had this on the agenda. Let us review it and we'll bring it back to the board and
Okay.
find out what we're actually talking about. Sorry about that.
Well, because you can't reserve water rights.
Well, let me check the nomenclature and see, there are some procedures that we've gone through, we've done on various
You
people.
can reserve their executive rights, which you can't.
Right,
Exactly, I'm sorry, I
exactly.
should have
Is
said
that what
that.
it
I
is?
should have said yes.
It's,
I should have
it's,
mentioned
okay,
executive
it's
water.
It's in the deed, yeah,
So
so.
then
That-
the taxes still go against the land,
Yes, sir.
but you just have a different person to look to as to who can order water.
Yes.
Yeah, well, the taxes are still owned, if they, whoever reserved the executive rights owes the tax.
Yes, sir, which in this case would be Chacon Development.
And they are in, but what, and so, why do we need, we can straighten it out now, we
Yes,
just need.
it was my fault, I should have mentioned executive.
Well, that's okay, I mean, no big deal, let's try to clear it up. So, that's why I couldn't figure it out whenever I read that nomenclature.
Okay.
So, who is gonna pay the water?
And actually, the taxes have already been paid by Chacon Development.
Okay, so it already has, and these adjustments are for what now?
For the first one, that's Mission Valley, that's a total of $74, I'm sorry, $74.06. And that would be for the tax year 2007, 8, 2009, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14.
And that is because the land was dedicated to
In this case, I think it was the city of Socorro.
Socorro for
It's-
ponding areas and
yes,
stuff of that nature.
ponding
So that
slash
makes
park.
it non-taxable. That's the
No,
purpose
that's,
of the adjustment.
it depends on the deeded ownership, if it's taxable or not,
That's
not
what-
dedicated.
Deeded, and whatever you wanna say was deeded to them, if it's dedicated, then it's deeded to them. So, yeah, okay, so in that, in the
No,
title
wait a
now,
minute, say that again?
the title is in
Dedicated for
Socorro.
subdivision plat.
So what?
I'll make the request again that you let engineering review this, I wasn't aware of it.
That sounds like a good idea.
Okay,
Okay.
all right, before we make the adjustments, let's do that.
Next month.
Can we proceed with number 5 and 6?
Which is what?
This, property owner number 5, Miguel and Elena Lopez, we had charged them with an assessment of water allotment. Property owner protested the charges. Kathy Orson, our contract coordinator, called the alcalde, Mr. Chavez, which is alcalde for Gate Community Ditch, and he did verify that the property had not used water for the tax year 2014.
Sure, we can do those.
Number 6, this is the neighbor of number 5. This thing like this. Same thing, property owner protested the water charges. Kathy Orson verified with Eddie Chavez, alcalde for Gage Community Ditch, and yes, he says that they did not irrigate for the tax year 2014. So that would be an adjustment on Miguel Lopez at $67.80 and Cristina Lopez at $6.80.
Okay, we can do those,
Yes,
so
we can do those.
I entertain a motion to approve items, adjustments 5 and 6 as presented by Rose.
So moved.
Or makes a motion, seconds, all in favor say aye, all opposed same sign. Okay. Got that now.
Next item, we're working with Public Service Board on a joint project. And what I did on lines 1 and 2, they're not numbered by the way, I went ahead and summarized what we've done for the year 2013. We processed 392 leases, total 39,200 in processing fees, and 16,397.57 cents. That was the first year that we started working with Public Service Board on this project. Second year, that's for the year 2014, we processed 327 leases, totaling 32,300 in processing fees, collected taxes, $4,641.18. And now we're approaching our third year, and we are processing leases. So this is a 12-month project. Even though we have the current year going out, we're still receiving leases from Public Service Board as well as Lower Valley Water District. So total, we have processed 727 leases, total 72,700 in processing fees, and collected delinquent taxes in total $21,126.
Very good.
And it's going strong. We're going to be sending out delinquent notices next month, and we will be including the flyer that Public Service Board has provided, giving them information how to lease their homes. Any questions on the item?
Not.
Next one.
That's great, that's
Really good.
the brightest spot in the whole deal.
Our next item is our tax comparison. And Mr. Ivy, I also sort of, what the heck is going on when I saw those numbers? February of 2014, we were at 90% collected versus this month, or I should say February at 88%. So immediately I started looking at those accounts that have not paid and started making some calls. And they're coming in, some situations, financial situations, working with families, working with the banks, so on. Also funding has not been coming in, but we have making calls. So has Kathy been assisting in making calls because we have water orders in place. And now our system shows that they're not paid, so they're flagged. So the account is not paid, so we cannot accept the order. So Kathy has been very helpful. So we are making calls, and yes, we have received some big farms come in and paid after those tolls. We've had to wait.
It's actually more money than last year because of
A little bit more.
the assessment.
And like I said, we will be, now we're done with collecting the main portion of the current year, and now we're going to be concentrating on those delinquent years. And we will be sending out delinquent notices in March, April, and May, and then followed by the attorneys in July. They'll be sending out notices that the account has been turned over to them for collections. Our next report, we got tax suits. We got 2 property owners paid their taxes in full from the previous month. I'll just bring you to the last column. It's just a status where the tax suit is. And I have been working very closely with the law firm, and I'll be providing more information as where the suit is at this stage, whether they've been in contact, if there's an abstract, if there's been a judgment, if the property's been sold. All this information will be provided to. So, example, those two accounts that were paid in full, you will not see those on next month's report. And of course, we're still getting some new ones. And that's another list that we're working on right now. If I may, I just wanted to let you know that we're gonna try something a little different. We're gonna, instead of turning over the accounts to the attorneys to collect, we're gonna send a letter that they have 10 days to pay before we file the suit. It has been giving us good results. Because that would be additional money for the taxpayer, and court fees and stuff. And that's all I have.
All right, Rose, well, thank you.
Very good, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
General manager report.
Okay. We've already covered item A with Mr. Daniel Tives. Item B, I've talked to Gary Esslinger. Every year when we get our first quarter budget estimate from the Bureau of Reclamation, we sit down with Ken Rice and go over what the proposed budget is and what we think, where we think we can cut, and so on. So last year we were able to cut, I think, a total of $62,000 is what we got back as credit. So Gary and I are going to try and meet with Ken next week. We can go over it again. So I just wanted to show it to you all and make you aware of what we're doing. And item C, the Law of the Rio Grande, that's the seminar in Santa Fe that they have yearly, and this year they asked the two irrigation districts, EPCWID and ourselves, to present at that conference, and I ran it through Jim and our board president, and I checked with Pat Gordon to see if there was any problems because of the Supreme Court case, and everybody gave me the green light to go ahead and proceed. And my presentation is going to be only about the project, where we receive our water, how we receive it, and the projects that we've done, the upgrading that we've done to our system. So it'll be very basic but very detailed as to what we do, how we handle our El Paso district. And I've seen EPCWID's presentation, and Gary's doing about the same thing, and he's showing some of his telemetry projects and equipment that he's upgraded, and I'm going to do mostly our concrete lining and headgate improvement and so on, where we conserve water and improve our system. So that's what I'll be talking about.
Excuse me, Joey. I'd like to see Gary's outline of his presentation. Can you
Okay.
send it to me?
I don't have it. I saw it, Phil King showed it to me on his laptop, but
Okay.
I'll see if he can send it to you.
I think that'd be good. That'll put you in a position where you can have it with you in print out form when you make your presentation.
Okay. And then item D, the compact meeting is scheduled for the 23rd and 24th of March. We've already made reservations. We'll be staying at the AT&T Center this year. We fly in there on Monday, and the reception is Monday afternoon. And I included a map in there in case we split up in Austin. But anyway, so you all would know where the reception's being held. And then the following day is the meeting, and that meeting's going to take place at the Texas Water Development boardroom. And it's right half a block away, Al, I guess, from the AT&T Center, maybe a block. Yeah, maybe a block distance. It's within walking distance. I've attended a couple of meetings there already, so it's not that far away from AT&T Center. So that's why I went with the AT&T Center.
Probably closer than the parking lot.
Yeah. So right now, all the board members, with the exception of Mr. Ceballos, he never replied back whether he wanted to go. I know he's in California, right?
Yeah.
So everyone else is going. we're gonna take that early bird flight that is a nonstop, that assures us, because sometimes I've taken that afternoon flight and sometimes it's delayed coming into El Paso, because it comes out of Las Vegas, so I didn't wanna take a chance on us getting into Austin late and not being able to attend the reception, because like Johnny says, that's probably where all the majority of stuff happens.
That's the most important part of the whole deal.
And then usually after the reception, then we get together and go to dinner. I'm gonna get with Gary to see, we usually do it jointly with EPCWID. I don't know if they're going to want to do it this year or not. But if not, I'm gonna work with Alan setting up something for us.
If they want to do it jointly, we'd be glad to be their guest.
Yeah. And by the way, they picked up the last tab in Austin, they picked it up.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, they did, and then we picked up the one in Alamosa the following year, so it's back on their court if they invite us.
Well, we just set it up.
Well, I'll be meeting with Gary, I need to,
Yeah, we'll make that
Talk to
a
you
basis
tomorrow.
of the reel in there, and then you can be fine.
and that's all I had, like, Pete wasn't here, and I explained to you all why, but I thought it was a great opportunity to,
Those are brand new backhoes with $30,000 discount.
Wow.
yeah.
It was a lease program that they decided not to do anymore, and they're selling all their inventory.
Wow.
Volvo, yeah, and they're brand spanking new. This one that he got has 5 hours on it,
Wow, it's mobile.
a Volvo. And
Yeah, I should know, Pete.
it's got that extended arm and it's fully loaded.
My whole back goes dead.
So they had a lot of other equipment, but I told him his budget was very limited.
Yeah. I'm sure he wanted to make it smart.
Yeah, I didn't get back on the plane.
Yeah.
Held his hand up again.
So that's all I had, unless you all have any questions. Sharon's got all the information. I think you'll be getting our boarding passes, Sharon,
I
or?
can get the boarding pass.
Yeah.
I've passed out files with everybody's reservations, so everybody has a
Okay.
reservation.
All right.
Let's go right here. Okay. All right. District engineer.
You said the Texas Water Development Board, boardroom,
Yes.
is that in the same building?
It's on the ground floor of the.
It's on the ground
Is that
floor.
the same building that the TNRCC was in and?
No.
No,
Briefly, Water Commission was there with them, but it's the,
It's right next
it's
to
the
the,
Travis building.
it's right next to that museum with the.
Yeah, Bullock, right across from the History Museum.
Okay.
You can't miss it. The land office is on the ground floor and their boardroom's on the ground floor.
Downtown, right?
Sort of.
It's
South of the
north of the
university.
Capitol, between the Capitol and the
We're on
University.
18th, between 17th and 18th Street. Well, it's a ways from the courthouse, but it's pretty, like I say, you can walk to it from the hotel. Let me go over, this is the Doppler rainfall. You know, we got quite a bit of rainfall in January. Unfortunately, the watershed didn't get as much as other parts further south. So this is converted snow into total, snow is just form of precipitation. So it pretty much that big storm that came through got every place, but not every place equally. Doing it. This is today. And that previous one was the average for, or the totals for the month of January. This is the snow water equivalent, and it's not very impressive right now. We see some 2-inch areas, but we should be seeing some a lot higher areas. For example, we'll talk about Wolf Creek in a minute. So this is just an enlarged.
Kill the lights, I can't see. There you go. Thank you.
So this is an enlargement of that map showing 2007, which is on the left. And 2007 was about normal on snowfall, a little bit below normal, and 2015 where we are today, so significantly worse off. And you'll see that the numbers are about 50% of normal, so it doesn't look particularly good.
In 2014, 2013, about the same as 2015.
Yeah, pretty much. And in fact, everything after 2007 is not the same. It's been a long drought. So right now, today, we're on snow water equivalent, we're a little above halfway in all the significant basins. You know, people put up the Jimenez Basin, I don't put up the Jimenez Basin, it's the only one that's close to normal. It attributes someplace between 2 and 3% of our water, I don't consider that a major. These three basins make up the over 90% of it. And with the majority being the Upper Rio Grande historically, and then the Chama a little bit, I think about 10% from the San Luis Obispo. The Upper Rio Grande Basin is really the driver in this whole thing. It doesn't have the reservoirs on it. You know, we understand that the Rio Chama Basin has significant reservoirs on it, and there's still some credits, storage credits available for New Mexico to keep water in those. So really, the Upper Rio Grande Basin is one I look at the most. Here's that's my favorite site there, Wolf Creek. Wolf Creek on a normal year, I believe has someplace in the neighborhood of 200 plus inches of snow. This is snow water equivalent. We're down to 10 inches, but I think it equates to about a 5 to 1 on this density of snow. So, where they normally have 200 to 300, right